Hello, Perşendetje, and welcome to the third recipe of our Albania month. Now, the first two recipes we did were very traditionally Albanian, ferdigez and tavikosi, which are fairly unique to Albania. Today we're going to do something which is very popular in Albania, but by no means unique. In fact, it's popular throughout the Balkans, down to Greece, across to Turkey and the Middle East. Now, in Albanian, it's called patlıcanı te embshur. Now that translates as stuffed aubergine. So, we clearly need an aubergine, but what are we going to stuff it with? Well, your first decision is whether you're going to make a meat or a vegetarian option. I'm going to add some meat today, but not too much, because I don't want it to be too heavy or too rich, but to bring out the taste of all the other ingredients. So I'm going to add some meat, and I'm going to mix that with some onion, some green pepper, some garlic, fresh tomato, and some parsley. And then for flavourings, I'm going to add some paprika, some tomato puree, and a vegetable stock cube. And then as a finishing touch at the end, I'm going to be putting some grated cheese over it. I've got cheddar and some firm mozzarella here, which I find a very good mix for this dish. And then obviously we have some olive oil for frying and some salt and pepper. So that's all we need. Let's have a check on the equipment and then get chopping. So very simple equipment today: a chopping board, a knife, a wooden spoon, a saucepan or saute pan, a cheese grater, and an oven dish. Okay, so I've cut my aubergines in half. I'm just going to season them with a bit of salt and pepper, and then I'm going to put them into the oven for around half an hour, something like that, just into a medium oven, so that the flesh softens enough for me to be able to remove it and add it to our mixture later on. But just a word about aubergines, because they're an interesting vegetable. Originated probably in China, certainly in the Far East, and as you may well know, they're still very much a staple ingredient in Chinese, Japanese, Korean and other Eastern cuisines. And as I said, the Albanian word for aubergine is patlıcanı. Also in Serbian, it's patlıcan. In Spain, it's berenjena or albacena, and from albacena is where it eventually translated into French as aubergine. But all of those words come originally from the Arabic word badinjan, which is the Arabic for aubergine. And interestingly, if you go to India, certainly if you go to an Indian restaurant, you'll see brinjal. Brinjal bhaji is a very popular dish in India, and brinjal actually comes from the Portuguese word for aubergine. But in a way, it's gone full circle, because even the Arabic word has roots, and the Arabic comes originally from the Indian Sanskrit, which is Vatingana. So it went all the way around the world, from Sanskrit through Arabic to Europe, and then back via the Portuguese explorers to India, and given a new name, but still with the same root. And Vatingana actually means literally in Sanskrit the remover of flatulence. So there you go. Our aubergines are clearly good for you in at least one way. But they also have other names. In Italy, they're referred to as melanzana. Now that probably still linguistically has the same root as badinjan, but the Italians sort of renamed it and rechristened it, and melanzana actually means mad apple, and possibly the reason for that is that the aubergine is a member of the deadly nightshade, the nightshade family, and there are certain parts of the plant and indeed related plants which can send you mad. So melanzana, and of course in English, certainly in the US and to some extent in the UK, we call it eggplant, which makes sense if you think that the original aubergines which were taken out and grown and harvested in the United States were the white variety. We're more used to the purple, but they come in purple and white, and they're on a whiter version. So if you had the whiter version, the idea of calling them eggplant or the land egg makes much more sense. So there we are. That's our linguistics lesson for today. Back to the chopping. So I've chopped the onion, the pepper and the garlic. That's going to go into our pan first with a bit of oil to fry off. Then I've separately chopped the tomatoes, which will go in as well, and the parsley. And I've also grated our cheese ready for later on. So that's it. We'll head to the kitchen now, bake the aubergine, and then we'll start making the stuffing mix. So a check on the ingredients and see you in the kitchen. And our ingredients today are 2 aubergines, 1 onion chopped, 4 ripe tomatoes chopped, 2 green peppers chopped, 3 cloves of garlic chopped, around 500 grams of minced meat, a teaspoon of tomato puree, a stock cube if you wish, 2 tablespoons of parsley chopped, 200 grams of grated cheese, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, salt and pepper. Okay, so the first thing we've done is we've taken our aubergine out of the oven and just leaving that to cool down a little before we scoop out the flesh from inside the aubergine. And in the meantime, in my pan, I've cooked off the pepper and onion and garlic. And now I'm going to add the meat. Just break that down a little. And we'll let that brown off for a couple of minutes. So with our aubergine, we're just going to scoop the flesh out as best we can, like this. We don't want to take all of it out because we want to leave a little bit in there to keep so that it keeps its shape while it's baking. But scoop out the best you can. I'll spit out. There we are. And then the rest of the skin of the aubergine goes back into the dish there to be stuffed a little later. And all we do now is just chop up the aubergine flesh a little bit to help it to cook nicely and mix nicely with the other ingredients. So I would normally let the meat cook for a little bit longer, but it doesn't really matter too much. It's going to carry on then. So we'll add the aubergine to the pan. And we'll also add our chopped tomatoes, our parsley. Then we're going to add a squirt of tomato puree, spoonful of paprika, and then take our vegetable stock cube and just crumble it into the mix like that. Stir that around, and now we leave that to cook down for about 30 minutes till the meat's cooked and the other ingredients are all nicely starting to mingle. So leave this cooking for about half an hour, and I'll see you back here to assemble the final dish. Okay, so our mixture's nicely cooked off now in the pan, and so all we're going to do now is add it to our aubergines. Pour it in, pat it down so you can get as much as you reasonably can into each of the halves of the aubergine. And then we take our grated cheese And then just sprinkle that over the top. Like that. And then that's going to go into an oven, medium oven, for around half an hour or so till the cheese is melted and nicely browned. And if, like me, you've got some mixture left over, then don't waste it. I'm going to pop mine into another little pot. As a last bit of cheese. And then we can put that in the oven with the aubergine, and then it can be just added to the dish when you're ready to eat it. So there we have it. Melanzane ripieni, berenjenas rereñas, Juan bao cuisine, Aubergine de embouchure, or stuffed aubergine. Enjoy.
On the half-fast train, on the road to gain, something gets right through.